Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Good afternoon. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, August 21st, and this is a Travers Blinkers Off. What's up, my man?
Yeah, what's up, guys? It is so fun. It's Travers week, one of my favorite weeks of the season. I say that a lot, but this truly is. And hey, even though it's a field of five, I still think it's going to be interesting. A great Saturday of racing as well. Very pumped, dude. Very pumped.
Yeah, it's we talked a lot about it the last couple of weeks, and I do think, yeah, it is a bummer that we got a field. I'm really shocked, honestly, when I saw the field. I was surprised that we didn't at least see it. You know, we talked about it last week. Like I expected to have a filler or two in there, but magnitude versus him, sovereignty being in the race, it does add a little bit of intrigue. Strategic focus maybe slightly just from it's the connections, but I do think magnitude is coming into the race. Like at least gives you enough. Like, all right, this will be interesting.
I mean, we haven't seen it, right? And he has run races that are huge, so it's enough. I think
replace magnitude with Gosker. Let's just say you'd be like, kind of like, yeah. But yeah, you're right. We haven't seen it, so you're like, yeah, I don't know. Like this might be interesting.
And he always, not he, but like horses like him in general, always add a little bit of fear because they are fast, and he is fast. And anytime you're handicapping a race, like your first vision is, what if he just gets out in front and he's too far ahead and they can't get him? So we'll talk about it all here in a bit for sure and break it all down. But yeah, I mean, that's just it right there in a nutshell. Can he get out in front, and is he scary enough, and do you want to roll the dice with him or not? So that's the big thing. Like I said, we'll break it all down, but he does add a little bit of intrigue into it. He does add that fear, the mystery, whatever, to what, again, we're seeing a really nice horse here in Sovereignty who's on an amazing run, and it's just another kind of hurdle, I guess, for him in this spot.
Yeah, and guys, listen, I mean, yes, it's a small field. It should be a fun one, but really, I mean, the day itself it's 14 race card. You've got 6 stakes races. 5 of those are grade ones. Several of them are Breeders' Cup winning your in races. The fields before the Travers are so tough, very deep. Barnes is back. How about that? You got a little bit of everything on some of those cards underneath. So I'm super excited for the card. We'll talk about most of the races. Obviously, you can get all our handicapping and detailed analysis from the Betting Bible, which is available now. We just released the final version there. We will have updates if there's scratches, but have a little new look as well. So make sure you go download that in the dashboard if you haven't already. Let us know what you think. But before we get into the week ahead, let's look. I'll just talk about one horse really, because I think that's, the Alabama was the headliner last weekend. And so Nitrogen, is she a dirt horse now? And is she like a legit distaff horse? I mean, obviously we'll see what happens with Torpedo Anna this weekend, but what did you think of Nitrogen?
Well, I'm super impressed with Nitrogen as a racehorse. Anytime you can win, grade 1 race on the dirt, you've also won multiple grade 2s and 3s on the turf. That just speaks volumes of what kind of horse you are. Just such a versatile horse, and I gush over her. She's one of my favorite horses in training. With that being said, I don't think anybody's looking at the Alabama and saying, well, that was an amazing, race. You know what I mean? It was pretty slow. Nitrogen was kind of in her own universe in a way, just like doing whatever she wanted. She's like way wide. They kept her way away from all the horses. She's weaving in and out of ghosts on the stretch, like just this way, that way, this way. There's nobody there. I don't know if she was bored or tired or what. I do think they were a little tired. I think going a mile and a quarter was a little tired. They got a little tired, but yeah, look, I don't know that she's a distaff horse, but she's a damn good horse. I know that.
Talk about options. I mean, name your race, slop, dirt, turf, graded stakes, doesn't matter. At Saratoga, run her anywhere. She has just been a versatile horse. And like I texted you right after the race, like whatever it was, like, yeah, there was all the weaving and stuff. she did what she was supposed to do, and that was win, and really wasn't that close. Good Cheer is like a slower, crappier version of Sierra Leone, like just completely pace dependent. I don't know. I don't know if she's just flattened since, or maybe just hasn't gotten better since the Oaks, and they've kind of gotten to her a little bit. But the pace of the race really hurt her in that one, because I didn't think she ran terrible. She just, was really impeded by the lack of no pace, really.
Yeah, I don't really agree, honestly. I just don't think she ran very well. I kind of think it's more what you said of, I think she hasn't gotten any better. She may have been one that blossomed a little early and was ahead of them, and she just hasn't made that next step. I really don't think I don't really think she's anything like Sierra Leone. Honestly, I think she's just kind of a mid-pack runner who hasn't found another gear this year. When you look at what happened in the Oaks, I think the pace kind of just helped her a bit, but she wasn't sitting last. She was middle of the pack and was able to make a run. This race, look, I like Nitrogen, but she was there to be beat. I don't really think the pace got her. I just think she wasn't very good in the race. I mean, she turned for home a couple. It's not like Nitrogen just dusted her and just took off again. Like, I just don't think she was good enough to beat her.
Well, there was an instance, I don't know about you, but for me, like briefly in the stretch where I was like, all right, here, Good Cheer's going to get her. She's going to just keep grinding. And then she just completely flattened out. I think really the disappointment of the whole race, in my opinion, was Lucara. I mean, she was awful. I mean, you talk about if you want to argue, and for me, the pace, hurt Good Cheer. Well, the pace was so slow. I mean, Lucara could do that in her sleep most of the time. At the very least, give Nitrogen a test or something, but man, you talk about just absolutely quitting. That was a little bit surprising to me based off of how the race unfolded.
Absolutely. I agree with that as well. I just kind of feel like it was one of those situations with a car. She needs the track to play to her style. I really think that's what it's all about. When you look at the race she won at Saratoga, 2 back, nobody was passing anybody that day. Darth Vader also won Gate to Wire that day in a race where she didn't look like she had much of a chance. So
yeah,
with Lucara, people are like, I think I'm gonna take her here. She's gonna be loose. It's like, she might, but she's also wildly inconsistent, and she struggles when the track doesn't really help her in these bigger races. And she had no excuse. I mean, to me, you at least kick on and get second there. She just didn't fire. Maybe kind of missing that training because of the quarantine issue. That could have played a little bit to it as well. But she's wildly inconsistent. And that's why last week when we were talking about, forget about the surfaces, who do you think is a better horse, Lucara or Nitrogen? Who would you rather have? It's like, I would rather have Nitrogen because Lucara is just wildly, wildly inconsistent. Where Nitrogen, I know what she's going to do. And like 2 races back when she lost, okay, she lost, but she was right there. She had a great chance. It was a head bob. She lost it. Okay. Lucara might run 8th or might win. So I can't ever trust her.
Yeah, those are infuriating types horses that
for sure. Yeah. Well, she's a lot level. Like Fierceness, but just not at that high level.
Yeah,
like exactly. Her best isn't that high level. But
right. But she's capable of winning a big, having a big performance, and she's also capable of quitting before you can even, think she's got a chance in the race.
Yep.
Listen, Nitrogen, that was technically her second start on dirt, really her first on fast. I would imagine this is not the most, again, we'll see what kind of torpedo we get this weekend, but that division is still up for grabs, meaning the distaff division. And, especially if, for instance, Torpedo were to somehow run in the Classic, I don't know that they will, but that was something McPeak had mentioned. I mean, why not run Nitrogen into the distaff? I think that would be a lot easier spot than, say, running around the turf where you're going to be facing, I would assume, some international horses.
Yeah, I think you said it best. You got a lot of options. Let's let it play out. Let's analyze the fields, and let's just take the shot that looks best. Because, hey, what if we run the Personal Instant Saturday and we're standing there going, that wasn't very good either? well, all of a sudden Nitrogen's has a chance, right? And not that she has a chance right now. I just don't prefer her in that spot. So yeah, I mean, I would just kind of sit back and see what happens. A 3-year-old going to the Breeders' Cup turf and like I said, beating those European horses, I probably not. So it might be best. So it's nice to have a horse that has those options. A lot of horses, most of them, 99% of them, they don't have options. We can do this. This is what we do well. We have to go here. It doesn't really matter about the field. They can kind of play, pick and choose there a little bit as well. One thing I want to mention, and I don't want to stop the show completely, but so the Samo Bombs are live to a huge score coming here. It's post time of the 5th race at Saratoga. So if you're watching 4, 5, 8, 11, and I mean, if the 8 wins, we're looking at like almost $12,000 for Samo Bomb users. So this is a big, big race coming up.
Holy shit. All right.
Yeah, this could be huge. Even the lowest payout is about $2,000. So this is a big, that's why I was like, if you're watching this live, this is going to be a big time race for him and all the subscribers.
Is anybody in the chat live to this?
Yeah, hopefully there's a couple that are live, but I know I know he got a text from his dad. He told me he's at the track today and he's like sweating bullets because this is a lot of money to be live to on a Thursday at Saratoga.
I was gonna say, what was who did he have in what shot this thing up?
He had a couple separators in the second leg. He had a 14-1 shot that won that I doubt very many people had. In the third leg, he beat a heavy favorite with the 2-horse. It wasn't a huge payout, but he beat the heavy favorite. So that ballooned it up. The last race, he had the horse who ran second at a big price. This thing could have been unbelievably high, but he got nosed out late. So still, though, you cash one of these, you're super happy. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to watch this. Like I said, for a Thursday, this is a pretty good sweat going on here for the bomb users.
That's the beauty of the Soma Bombs is they can be hit or miss, but he's aggressive with his ticket structures, and when they hit, they hit. And that's kind of the method of his madness. And that's why you have tickets like for him like this that are possible to hit because of the aggressiveness of those tickets. So all right, so who do we need here? They're loading to the gate. We'll kind of watch this while we're going on here.
Yeah, one more time. 4, 5, 8, and 11. The 8 would be massive. So
wow, yeah. The 8 is paying $23,000 on a dollar. So like you said, it'd be a little less than $12K.
Yep.
Should be okay.
All right. They're like I said, they're loading in. Yeah, it's a 2-year-old let's see, it's a 2-year-old 75 maiden claiming. So it's not a good race. So we'll see.
Yeah, what could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
We're going to interrupt this regular scheduled programming to give you an update of so much is ticket here because none of us will concentrate on what I'm about to say if we don't do it and don't wait till after this race is over.
Yeah.
5's got the lead. 8's right there. 8 and 5 going at it. So let's see if one of these horses can stay on. They're both at big prices here.
The 8 would just be insane. And the 8, like I said, does have the lead. And his 3 horses are dominating. A lot of times these 2-year-old races, especially claiming races, when they get out in front, they're tough to catch. We'll see, though.
Yeah, they've kind of all 3 been going for it a little bit. Yeah, let's see if they can separate
the 10 seems like the big worry. He's really making a big move.
The 10 certainly is a worry. Let's see. Yep. 8's probably done, so it's going to be between the 10 and the 4. The 10 looks really good.
Look at the 11 coming up the rail, though.
Oh my gosh,
we're going to see. Does the 10 have anything left?
I think the 10's flattening out.
Yep.
5 is re-rallying.
Oh, this is a stumble bunny race.
I think it's gonna.
I think it's gonna be the. Oh boy, this is bad. I think it's a 5. The 5's got more. Yep. So this is going to be about $8,000. Wow.
5 go. I mean, the 5 looked like he was about done.
Yep.
And he re-rallies there. Third or second was a 3-horse there. There you go.
Boom. Yeah. So we're going to have a lot of happy people today. And that was awesome. Yeah.
The 5 was paying, What did 5 pay? About almost 8,000, a little less than 70, a little less than 8. So
yeah, he has the pick 4 as well. That's about 1,300. So it's a little less than 10 grand, about 9,300 total.
bam.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, that's a huge ticket. So if you guys are watching that and wondering where you can get Soma bombs, they're available at racingdudes.com. Mike Samich.
Cowboy Jay wanted the betting Bible. Maybe we should give her the Samo Bomb link instead.
Yeah, no shit. Get both. How about that? Get both. So you get both our picks. But yeah, just over on the handicapping products page, just go to racingdudes.com. You see the get premium button, and you'll find Soma bombs there. So yeah, good ticket, and hopefully get some momentum heading into to what is a big weekend. So speaking of, let's get to today's show, which is going to focus on the $1.25 million DraftKings Travers Stakes at Saratoga. We're going to look at the contenders, the storylines, and the betting angles for one of the biggest races, not just at Saratoga, but of any race track all season. Then we're going to get some rapid fire picks for the loaded weekend of racing. We have a couple of Breeders' Cup Win Your In races, Saratoga, Del Mar. We're even going to go to Charlestown for the Charlestown Classic. It's that time of the year. Let's go. Skippy going for 3 years in a row. How about that?
It's crazy, isn't it?
That dude, if he does that, it's so Skippy. Like, he can't win the big ones, but that race just hits him right square between the eyes every year.
I mean,
it's funny too, because he goes to other tracks and he has no speed, but he goes to Charlestown and he goes gate to wire.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think he looks tough in that race.
Yeah, he does. Can he do it again? That's the question. We'll get to it, though. We'll get to it.
We will.
All right, on Saturday at Saratoga, the dudes will be there live and in person yet again. I don't know how many years in a row this is for us, Halterman, but it's been 3 or 4. Easy, right?
I can't remember. It's been a while. We've had a good streak.
Race number 13. I'll look at that in a second. Race 13, post time 6:14 p.m. Eastern. The Travers Stakes. We've got a field of 5, but you're looking at number 4, Sovereignty. Your Derby winner. Your Belmont winner, your Jim Dandy winner, Sovereignty, the 4-horse, looks to do it again here. New Shooter Magnitude seems to be the threat. And then you've got, Strategic Focus getting blinkers after what was kind of a poor performance last out in the Curlin. Chad Brown decides to wheel him back here again. So those are your threats. You also have Bracket Buster and McAfee to round out the field. So really, though, listen. This race is pretty simple. So you got to look at it and say, well, how do I make money on the race? Because he's 2 to 5 on the morning line. He'll be probably every bit of that at post time. What do you like? How are you approaching this race?
Well, look, I think you're right. You do have to kind of look at it and go, okay, well, how can we make money on the race? And I think the easiest answer is, well, you play against the heavy favorite. It's not for me, though. To me, I look at this and go, okay, the one Magnitude's going to the front. Bracket Buster probably will be towards the front. The other two, I think, will be towards kind of the middle of the pack or the back. Sovereignty will probably lay third right behind Magnitude and Bracket Buster. And the big question of the race and what you've got to ask yourself is, how far can Magnitude get ahead? And how far is he going to need to be ahead to hold off Sovereignty? Unfortunately for Magnitude, I don't think he's going to be more than a couple links ahead of Sovereignty, and I don't think that's going to be far enough to hold him off.
I mean, we've seen it the last really couple races where he's kind of gotten a lot closer to the race, and really in the Jim Dandy, he was really close. In fact, he was ahead of some horses in the race early on in the race. Then that you're like, he's ahead of Bieza, and so he's certainly created this new versatile running style, or he's just that much better than everybody else. But I do think, knowing one thing, you go into this race, there's no question what Magnitude's going to do. There's zero question. We know what he's going to do. Everybody in the race knows what he's going to do. So Sovereignty, and especially being a small field, and there's not like a lot of traffic you got to deal with, you got to think, hey, you know what? We're going to try to track Magnitude as reasonably close as we can.
I mean, and look, I think going into the Belmont, I think we all kind of thought, well, Sovereignty, might get too far behind on this track. It could be a problem. And he sat, like you said, he was ahead of journalism for a long time. He was ahead of Baeza, and the same thing in the Jim Dandy happened. So I think now what he's done and the way he's ran the last 2 races, look, if it was 3 races ago, I would be pretty worried about Sovereignty against Magnitude, because it's just a horse like Sovereignty is going to have a hard time beating a horse like Magnitude if you think the pace is going to be, out very slow for Magnitude, or not even slow, but just he's going to be by himself. Closers never really beat horses like that, but he's not a closer anymore when we talk about Sovereignty. Honestly, in his Jim Dandy, he outbroke the whole field, and I think he would have taken him gate to wire if Junior would have led him. I really do. He's not going to take him gate to wire here, but that aspect is just there. And again, when Magnitude turns for home, how far does he have to be ahead to hold off Sovereignty? That is the question mark.
Yeah.
What's your answer to that question?
I mean, that's the thing is, like, both when you go back and you look at maybe not necessarily the Derby as much, but certainly the Belmont and the Jim Dandy, as soon as you were kind of thought, both with journalism and Baeza, like, oh, hang on, like, here we go, the race was over, like it's just he makes up so many links with this stride that it doesn't necessarily concern you to be too far behind. There he gets going. I would think he needs to be 5 links ahead of him, like hitting the top of the stretch, just to make it interesting, I think.
See, that's the thing. I don't, if say Magnitude or say Sovereignty just doesn't get out of the gate very well, he doesn't get that positioning, and they turn for home, and Magnitude's got him up, he's up by 5 links, then I will be sitting there going, uh-oh. I just don't see, as long as Sovereignty kind of does what he did the last 2 races, I think it's more like 2. And I am sorry. And look, I'm a big Steve Asmussen fan, maybe the biggest, right? And I would love to see Steve Asmussen win this race. I absolutely would love to see it. If they're 2 links, if he's only 2 links clear, like I think he's going to be, ain't no way. He's not going to hold him off. So he's going to have to, and I'm kind of have the aspect of, if I'm Curtis, don't even worry about the fractions. Just get out there far ahead. Get ahead. And when you're turning for home, get that separation to where we get into the stretch. Sovereignty's looking at 5 or 6, and that's how you make it interesting. Now, again, he may still fade and get beat, but don't try to sit there and go, okay, we're out by ourselves here. Let's run 48 to the half, because that's when you're going to get annihilated in the stretch. Get way ahead. That's the key to the race. I don't think that's going to happen, number one. And number two, what happens when Sovereignty does make that move and he gets to Magnitude? We don't really know what'll happen at that point, because the first 6 races of Magnitude's career, I draw a line through all of them. He's not the same horse. The last 2 races where I look at, nobody's been close. Nobody's had a chance to challenge him. You have to think Sovereignty will at least be within range to challenge him. How does he react? I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at some of the pros and cons. I mean, one, Magnitude's got elite speed, and there's no doubting that. He's the only horse in the race, aside from the favorite that's rattled off back to back. Sovereignty's rattled off 3 straight triple digit buyers, and he's strategic focus to that 2-back ran a 102, but certainly the only horse that kind of looks like can measure up in perfect scenarios. Now, the downfalls are the horses that he's beat in the last 2. Now, frankly, they beat him by 10, so there's that, where It's My Birthday and Chunk of Gold. I legitimately think Sovereignty could give Chunk of Gold a 10-link head start and win. So I don't think it's the class is complete. Who's Sovereignty beat his last couple? Well, he's beaten Baeza in journalism multiple times, so it's like, who's the best second and third best horses at 3-year-olds? That's those 2. So it's a different level that they've been facing. There's no question about that. Now, like I said to you before the show, I think there's two legitimate, like there's two ways Sovereignty gets beat here, and that's it. The two ways are simple. One is he just doesn't do it. Something happens. He doesn't run well. He's sick. He gets pulled up. He's hurt. Just one of those days, that's it. The other one is, and this is far less likely. I would consider the first one way more likely. I don't mean it's going to happen. I just mean comparable. Is that Magnitude, and again, this is less likely, but that Magnitude is Sovereignty-esque. And I don't think that's very likely, but we don't know really because he's so I'm with you. Like those first parts of his career, look at the last couple of races and how he's been running. I don't think he is, but those have shown some pretty elite type ability. And if he can do that, then Sovereignty, that could get Sovereignty beat, especially in a 5 race. We know how these small fields sometimes can be. They can be weird, right? He gets out there to a 10-length lead somehow, and you're like, oh, well, great, like good luck catching him, almost like an arrogant type situation where no one, he just keeps going, and you're like, shit, man. No one can go to that even on a good day. So I think those are the ways. I don't think it's very likely, but I do think it's possible. Now, Strategic Focus beats him. I'd be pretty surprised.
Yeah, no, me too. And I think I pretty much agree with everything you said. I don't think I would argue much of it. I think that's how, and I am with you. If Magnitude wins, I'm not going to sit there and be shocked because he is a pretty good horse who's proven to be pretty fast and who can be ahead of him potentially by a margin that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. That's something that really journalism or Baeza, while you thought they'd be ahead of him, it wasn't like, wow, there could be a huge gap here, right? So that is something that I think is just different. And, we really haven't seen like a real good elite type of speed horse in this division yet. Like Rodriguez was kind of that horse in the Belmont that people thought might get away from him. And we kind of knew he just wasn't that type, right? I think Magnitude's better than Rodriguez. You know what I mean? So I do think it is a little bit of a challenge and kind of something new that Sovereignty is going to have to kind of overcome. And I wouldn't argue that. But on the flip side, if we're going to say, okay, yeah, this is a little bit of a challenge. This is something new that Sovereignty's going to have to deal with. This is a whole nother planet that Magnitude's going to have to deal with, right? So I understand that, yeah, Magnitude presents a problem for Sovereignty. Sovereignty produces a much bigger problem for Magnitude that he's ever faced. And again, I'm not knocking him because he beat Chunk of Gold and he beat It's My Birthday like a good horse should, but this is a different challenge. This is completely different. So it's deeper waters big time for Magnitude here.
I think another good, like, let's just say you're in the boat of, and this is kind of how I am, where it's like, I think he's like Magnitude go out there and gate to wire, or if he doesn't, what happens when he gets past, and at what point of the race does he get? If he gets past, midway down the stretch, maybe he hangs on there for a second. But if he gets kind of like top of the stretch, and here comes big, huge ass Sovereignty up on, you know what I mean? And you're like, he might say, oh, forget this, like, and then what happens? So with Magnitude, do you trust him enough to say, hey, I think it's a 4-1 exacta all day. I'm not even going to overthink it. Or are you concerned at all that, hey, if he does get past, maybe a horse like the 3 Strategic Focus could come up and pass him too?
Well, look, my vision of the race, like I said, I think they turn for home and Sovereignty's starting to make his move and he's like a length behind. So in that thought process, I think I've got him catching Magnitude fairly early in the stretch. Now, will he do what Baeza did in the Jim Dandy and fight with him? And he could, or will he look up and go, what just happened, and kind of stop? And that's, I like the 4-3 exacta for that reason. I just feel like Magnitude has that look to me as if he does get past, he might pack it in a little bit. Right. And so I think Magnitude wins or he's off the board. How about that? That's where I'm at with him.
I almost had strategic focus in second for the reasons you're saying. And I couldn't quite do it. I don't know. I don't like that horse very much, but I do think the fact that Chad's bringing him back, throwing blinkers on him tells me a lot. Like, hey, like they think he got distracted late, in that race when, he should have been finishing out the race. Cause it looked like he was about to win. This is a horse, I think, let me pull it up. Pretty sure this horse has been the favorite. All 3 starts and sub even money, 2 of the 3. So, I mean, obviously he's had a lot of hype. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So are you do you think it's more likely that Magnitude wins than gets second?
Yeah, I do. So to me, it's like one of like 3 things are going to happen, right? Like he gets passed early and he kind of just quits, and it's like, or they get into a battle and he's duking it out, or maybe he's far enough ahead and he makes it close and he gets nipped, or he wins, right? I mean, I just think the most likely scenario in my head is he really hasn't faced a really good horse that's passed him or got to him. And when he does here, I am a little skeptical that he's going to dig right in. When you watch him in the Iowa Derby and even in the Risen Star, he's not on his right lead some of the time. And I think some of it's boredom because there's nobody there, but it's like, say he gets passed and he's flip-flopping his leads and he's kind of looking around. I could just kind of see the wheels coming off a little bit with him. And I said earlier, maybe he doesn't hit the board. I don't know if I want to go that far because I don't know about those other 2 horses, right? But maybe he gets third instead of second in that scenario. So I just kind of look at this like Sovereignty's just in a whole nother class level, and Magnitude's got to rise to that level. And I think it's questionable that he will.
I was just like going through and researching for half a second. I'm pretty sure this will be our 5th straight Travers.
Yep.
Because we didn't go 2020, obviously, right, but we were there 21. So we've seen Essential Quality, Epicenter, Archangelo, Fierceness, and then now Sovereignty, I guess. So
yep,
it's been a good, solid 5-year run of which is not really that surprising because the Travers is the Travers.
By the way, just real quick, Kevin says he's going to get beat at the wire. That's what I'm rooting for. Give me that finish. And I honestly, if we see that race, if he wins, that's great too.
Oh man, I hope we see that. Well, for my tickets, I hope we see that too. But not too close to the wire because I don't want to sweat it that badly. But and honestly, I'd be a little surprised. But 2, I guess another question I'll ask before we move on from the race is like, what does Magnitude need to do in order for you to kind of be like, hey, he lost, but like he's still like a legitimate, say, classic contender, you know what I mean? Or hey, he's kind of like in that and I feel like I shit all over Gosker all the time, but he always comes to mind, the Goskers and the Burnham Squares and those kind of like good, not great. Like, what does he need to do here against a horse like Sovereignty?
I think if he runs second and he's only beaten a length or 2 or even 3, I honestly think that is enough proving, because you look at how we measure Baeza and how we measure journalism to a certain extent. Now he has wins, well, like Magnitude does. So yeah, we'll say like journalism. If you run with competitive with him, Sovereignty, I mean, you're a legit contender in my mind. I mean, you think about all the big wins that journalism has, and he's kind of been dusted by Sovereignty, but we don't think less of him, right? Really,
exactly.
And same with Baeza. So, minus the wins, obviously, with Baeza. But yeah, I think Magnitude, if he turns for home, he's got the lead. Say he either obviously wins or he gets beat, but it's like you watch it and like maybe what you said, it's like, I never really thought it was in doubt, but he didn't get embarrassed out there. He's a couple links behind, but it took mid-stretch. Hell, I think that'd be very good for Magnitude.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at, again, the Derby's a little different in my opinion, but like you look at the Belmont and the Jim Dandy, you didn't end those races, even though they weren't really close at the end. certainly not the Belmont. You didn't go and say, wow, journalism ran like shit or Bieza ran awful in the Jim Dandy. You're like, damn, I mean, they ran well. They just got beat by a better horse. So if that's the kind of performance, I mean, look, the Belmont, we're not saying we think journalism is second best horse. He got beat by 3 in the Belmont, you know?
So yeah, look, I'll tell you this: people that are betting Magnitude and people that are going to watch Magnitude and trying to judge if he's good or not. The 2 times I tried to beat Sovereignty in his in this 3-year-old season was with journalism. Got smoked both times, but both races I was watching journalism. When he hit the top of the stretch, I said, "We're winning," and he got killed. If you are betting Magnitude or watching Magnitude, if he hits the top of the stretch and you go, "He's winning," and then he gets beat, but he runs second.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say, hey, he ran well. Like if he turns for home, he's full of energy. He's got a lead on him. Yeah.
I mean, I think if he gets third, anything worse than second, it's because this is not the greatest of Travers.
Yes.
So,
yes,
certainly, I mean, unless Strategic Focus just runs this absolute insane race of some sort that you're like, oh, okay, well, he still ran well. But I mean, he needs to run top 2, in my opinion, Magnitude, in order to be like, yeah, that's a pretty good horse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all right. Final thoughts of the Travers. I know, we got our full exact, because here's the thing about this race. It makes it interesting. Being a 2 to 5, the odds aren't on the screen, but I'll say them real quick. Magnitude is 2. These are morning line, 2 to 1, 20 to 1 on Bracket Buster, 6 to 1 Strategic Focus, 2 to 5 on Sovereignty, 20 to 1 on McAfee. I want to ask you real quick before I move on, because I forgot to ask you this earlier, is 2 to 5 on Sovereignty, 6 to 1 on Strategic Focus, and 2 to 1 on Magnitude. What odds do you, if someone's saying, hey, I can't put, which I completely understand, 2 to 5 on Sovereignty is crazy. I mean, I get it. It's probably justified, but it's tough to play. What odds will you take? What's Magnitude? What should he be? What do you think he'll go off at?
Yeah, it sucks because if you want to play Magnitude to win, you really were hoping there are more horses, because unfortunately, like, okay, Sovereignty is going to be 1 to 5, I think, but then it's like, well, shit, everybody's going to start to gravitate towards Magnitude. He's clearly the second best horse. So I do think you're only going to get 2 to 1 or 5 to 2 on him. And that's the unfortunate situation, because look, at the end of the day, like I said, Magnitude could win the race. It's possible. And I wouldn't be surprised, but boy, would I want a better price on a horse to try to beat a horse like Sovereignty? Yeah, I would. No problem about it. So I think he's close to that morning line, unfortunately, for people that want to back him.
It'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he's sub 2 to 1. It depends on how much like the bettors want to say, I can't bet Sovereignty anymore at 2 to 5. I got to switch to Magnitude because of. So I do think there is a weird little line there where you could see him go to 9 to 5, and then maybe it goes 9 to 5 to 2 to 1 range somewhere in that department, because then the money goes back to Sovereignty. But I don't think 7 to 2 is what you're gonna. I don't think you'll get it.
I think the only way you get 7 to 2 is if Sovereignty's 1 to 9.
A ton of money comes in on Strategic Focus.
Yes. Money that we don't maybe expect comes in on Chad's horse. I think you would have gotten 7 to 2 if you had 8 to 10 horses in the race. But
yeah, for sure.
There's just nowhere for the money to flow, you know? So but Jeff, for your sake, I hope you get it, and I hope he wins for you, but I don't know that you're going to get 7 to 2.
Yeah, it's so I guess, again, what I was kind of getting to, and then I got sidetracked, is in the betting Bible, we kind of, it gives, the way I'm playing it, the way he's playing it, whether it be, spoiler alert, neither one of us are playing a win necessarily on Sovereignty because the value is just not there. So how do you get creative? We both have kind of our own versions of that. So, if you want more detailed analysis of how to play the Travers, how to try to make money with a 2 to 5 shot, say, because neither one of us are picking against them, that all is available there. But I'll let you kind of give your final thoughts of the race, Haltzman.
Well, yeah, look, I do think it is a fascinating race. Like I said, I wish there were more horses, blah, 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 but there's not. So there's 5. And I think it's all I'm watching this race is how far is Magnitude ahead? What kind of energy does he have turning for home, and how far is he still ahead? And then scale back for the big horse and see what happens.
Here's the thing about the entries that annoys me. And because it's like, I understand that it's, not wanting to face Sovereignty, but like it's racing, things happen, and the purse is huge. And listen, scratches happen all the time. What happens if Sovereignty gets sick on Friday morning or Saturday morning and scratches, and all of a sudden you got a field of 4 in the Travers with no Sovereignty? I bet you're wishing you would have entered then, And so it's just, I understand not, not wanting to face Sovereignty. But it's the grade 1 Travers, and to me, it's like one of it's right behind the Kentucky Derby for 3-year-olds, at least the Triple Crown. I don't understand why you don't have a couple in there. I really don't. But
I mean, imagine if my kind of theory is right, which we'll see. It may not be, but imagine Magnitude does stop after he gets past. Listen, and I'm not saying he's doing it, but a lot of horses do when they get passed for the first time like that, right? All of a sudden, it's Bracket Buster, Strategic Focus, and McAfee. One of those 3 are going to finish second in the Travers. That is, to me, that would be very meaningful if I had a horse finish second in the Travers. So I get why journalism and Baeza aren't here. I don't understand why there's not more people trying it, though.
Certainly, like, especially if you said, well, we got second to Sovereignty. Oh, well, okay, that's great. We don't disregard journalism for getting second to him in the Belmont. We don't disregard Baeza for getting second in the Jim Dandy. I mean,
I like that. Maggie, that's a good comment. I like that comment.
That's right. I saw a guy on Twitter. It's I don't know if I don't remember who it is. I'm sure Shoddy knows who it is if she's still in here. But this dude hates Sovereignty for some reason. I don't know why. Hates him, and it's like this. He's gonna lose. He got a soft schedule. He skipped the half the Triple Crown, and just bashing him. It's like, well, where's journalism at? He loves journalism, and it's like, well, he's skipping the Travers, but it's like, I don't know how you can get into like Mott said, by the way, that he thinks that's the other thing about this race. Mott is, as soon as the Derby was over, it was like not just the Belmont, it was get to the Travers now, and everything's been worked backwards from the Travers, and just like the Derby was the Derby, to me, this is the Derby for that, the second Derby for him. So I expect he'll be just super tight here. So
I honestly think I really think this may be 6 links.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna it's gonna be, and really that's where you get concerned for Magnitude in second, because if he just annihilates him, and Magnitude like does everything he can do on the front end early in the race to basically try to steal it. Let's say he's tired. There goes that horse. Maybe he calls it, and so does he have that big race in him where he can hang with Sovereignty for the distance of the race? I don't know. So
I mean, I hope so, because like I said, I'd love to see a really good race, but I just looking like, geez, this journalism is just a champion. And this Sovereignty just beat him like he was tied to a pole in the Belmont, and so I can't get there that Magnitude is as good as Sovereignty. And if I don't think that, I just can't play him. And that's where I'm at. And I know the pace and all this stuff. Sovereignty's last 2 races, he was too tactical. So
I've seen a lot of comments in here. I'm not pointing out Michelle here at all, but where do we see that he has an issue with the distance? He's won in a mile and 1/8. I get it. That's not this distance, but he won in the Risen Star going away by 10 in the Risen Star going a mile and 1/8. I mean, he's not this time out of a Burning Deanie mare. I don't see that. No. I think he should get the distance.
I got to be honest, distance was not something I was worried about when I looked at him.
That's why I asked, because I never even thought about it being.
No, I mean, the horse, like I said, he's bred to go a mile and a quarter. Now, will he do it? You never know until they do it, right? Even horses that are bred really well for it, sometimes they don't. But
now, having said that, Strategic Focus should go all day. That's the other thing. That horse is,
and he didn't last time.
A gun runner and a curling mare. Like, that horse is bred to go forever. So, I think that's part of the adding blinkers, because no one, Chad couldn't believe he quit like he did that. I mean, if he was 1-9, at the top of the stretch of the Curlin. And so, if he can kind of recreate that race and only finish it, then he definitely would be dangerous. But sovereignty for us. No surprise there. Should be a fun one to watch. We'll see y'all at the Travers. 4th at best, Kevin says. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. The horse that his stablemate, Chancer McPatrick, beats him and then doesn't run in this race. And the horse that kind of quit in the race, Strategic Focus, shows up in the race. So, interesting. We'll see if it pays off the move for. I would say this, if Chancer was in this race, I wouldn't have been excited about it. So there's that,
No, and I'm not excited really for Strategic Focus. It's just like, I think he's the best of the other three. And I just, it's like, I think if Magnitude kind of slows up a little bit, he might be able to get second or third. But look, these other 3 horses, there's nothing to get overly excited about.
No. All right, guys, time for Rapid Fire, presented by the Travers Stakes 2025 Betting Bible. Go get that at racingdudes.com. It's available right now. Travers Day this Saturday at Saratoga is loaded with championship caliber racing, featuring 6 stakes, 5 of them grade 1s, 3 of those BC winning or in races. And the Travers Stakes Betting Bible is available, and it's your ultimate guide to crushing the entire card. Not just the Travers, the entire card, all 14 races. Halter and I have our analysis, our top picks for each race, other bets you can play, our top 4, everybody at Racing Dudes top 4, AI top 4, John White's top 4, pick 4, pick 5 analysis, anything you need to help you cash in big at Saratoga on Saturday for Travers Day. We have it at racingdudes.com. You can buy it individually or you can get it for free as a premium subscriber. So head on over to racingdudes.com and go grab your copy before the big race. All right, Halterman, we're going to go a day before Friday. So Friday night, we'll be chilling at Saratoga. We're gonna sit down at a bar and we're gonna pull up the Charlestown Classic. It's race 11. It's a tradition like no other. Grade 2, $1 million, 1 mile and 1/8 for 3-year-olds and up. And shocker, but look at that, 7-5 on Skippy Longstocking. Can he do it 3 years in a row?
It's his race. This is his race. I'm going Skippy Longstocking once again. Look, he looks tough in here. This is the type of field he beats. This type of race he wins. I'm going with him. I thought it was interesting that Banishing is coming up, but I don't know that he wants to go this far. Look, give me Skippy. I think he's the one to beat.
Banishing. I want to pick that horse every time, and I just, it looked great the last 2, or at least good the last 2. Well, they're at 1 mile and 6.5 furlongs. He mile and 1/8 in the Blame was not good. The 7 furlong race that we always talk about, the Churchill Downs, the grade 1, that's been so useful moving forward. Mindframe, Banishing, Nisos, all those horses. Bookham Dano, hell of a race, but those were all shorter distances.
Yep.
I just can't do it with Banishing. And I understand Skippy. Trust me, I do. I'm going to try to beat him because I do think we have some more speed in this race this year that might dictate things a little bit more for him on the front end. Give me another speed horse here. Willie D, the 7 horse. I like this horse here. 3-1. Luis Saez back aboard. Rode this horse 2 back. You look, dude, Mike Maker, man. It's the Mike Maker effect. Look at this horse. This horse was claimed for $50K back in whenever that was. Since then, this horse has gotten better and better. This horse couldn't crack 85 buyer before that. And since then, this horse has ran 95, a 93, 100, and a 98 buyer the last couple of races. So he's got him where he wants him. Say what you want. Give me the 7 Willie D to pull off the upset. Oh, yeah, Rob, you got Willie D as well.
Yeah, Willie D, imagine that. Maker moving one up there. A little surprising. Not. But, yeah.
The need for speed, Bree.
I can see it. I could definitely see it.
Yeah, listen, it'll be interesting because when I looked at this race, I thought, well, you go back, and that's what I said earlier. It's like Skippy doesn't have any, well, it has speed, but not speed. But then you go to the Charlestown Classic in the form, and it's all ones. Like, for whatever reason, he gets to Charlestown, he just cruises. Well, there seems to be some speed in this race, and that will be an interesting aspect of if he doesn't have it on the front end, can he still get the job done I'm betting against him at 7-5, but totally understand him. I mean, I'll be rooting for him. Let's be honest, because doing it 3 years in a row is, I assume, is unheard of in that race, and he's a cool horse to root for. So,
For sure.
but I'm gonna try to beat him with Willie D. All right, let's go to Saturday now. We'll go back to Saratoga in a second. This is actually a low-key awesome race at Del Mar. That's a Pat O'Brien Grade 2, 250K, 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. A lot of you probably haven't even looked at this race yet because I'm focused on Saratoga. But this is a Breeders' Cup when you're in for the dirt mile, so it's got implications there as well. And of course, the Breeders' Cup being at Del Mar helps. 5-2 on Speedboat Beach, 3-1 on Stronghold, 5-1 on May Moon. Hey, there's your horse. He's alive. Dr. Venkman at 4-1, who just ran. It feels like last weekend. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, pretty crazy to see May Moon back off like a year and a half layoff coming into a Breeders' Cup winning your in race. That's normal. Well, another horse that's coming off a long layoff, the Speedboat Beach. They never can really keep him healthy. I kind of feel like he's getting to the front, not looking back in this race. When you remember, his really good races, he's been really tough, and it's been all out here in Southern California. So, give me Speedboat Beach here. I really wanted to play Dr. Venkman again, but I just can't anymore with him. Let me down too many times. Let's give me the Baffert. Give me Speedboat Beach.
Yeah, man. I sat there for a while and thought, all right, they can go, there's speed. Seems like there's a lot of speed signed up. And, Dr. Venkman, I like, to kind of pick him off late. And then Stronghold looks very interesting if the pace melts down. He's pretty, runs pretty true whenever those pace setups. The problem is with a horse like Stronghold and a horse like Dr. Venkman, they like to get second a lot. And that is concerning. And I ultimately did what you did. And I hate to do it because he has had his issues. That last race, obviously, he got hurt. Yeah. But man, Speedboat Beach, look at the way he's working. 3 of 42, 1 of 3, 1 of 4, 1 of 83, did 58 almost flat and 5 furlongs last out. Talk about a horse that's primed up. Any race that he's really ran in that, wasn't on the turf, he's ran triple-digit buyers when sprinting. And I think, he likes Del Mar. He likes this distance. I think he's going to do exactly what you said. Go to the front, not look back. So give me the 2. Speedboat Beach, but he's an interesting one. The Breeders' Cup sprint last, I guess that was 2 years ago. He was 3-1 that day. Finished 4th, didn't run absolutely poor, terrible. Elite Power ended up winning that. Do you think he can make a way back? I know this is for the dirt mile, but do you think he can make a way back to one of those 2 races?
I mean, it's very possible he could run in them. I want nothing to do with him in either one of them. I can tell you that much. I don't think this horse. I think this horse is very much a one-trick pony. Get out to the front and hopefully can kind of run them off their feet. That just doesn't happen a lot in Breeders' Cup races. So no, I don't have a lot of interest in him moving forward into races of that caliber. But in this spot, it kind of just seems like, hey, we could get to the front and do just exactly what I said. Also, Bob Baffert horses are running their eyeballs out at Del Mar this meet. I mean, Privman even rebroke and won a race the other day. So Miramonte almost, got seconds in ISOs. So he ran great the other day. So look, I don't buy Speedboat Beach as a Breeders' Cup contender, but I definitely buy him in an August race at Saratoga.
All right,
let's Del Mar.
Let's go to Saratoga. Thank you. Yeah. And let's go back on Saturday for one more. We're not going to go over all of them. Obviously, all the analysis will be on the website as well as the betting Bible this weekend. But we will go over kind of one of the bigger other grade ones on the undercard of the Saturday at Saratoga, and that is race 9, the Personal Ensign grade 1. It is a Breeders' Cup winning in for the Distaff, 500K, mile and 8th. For fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. And look no further, the 7th, Torpedo Anna at 6-5. But I don't know what it is, if it's just the way she's ran the last couple of races. The last one, she actually got back on track a little bit. But you just don't necessarily have the confidence maybe that you used to with her. But, she still should win. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I just feel like a quote unquote good effort is better than this group. So I went with Torpedo Anna on top here. I'm not playing to win. Unless maybe she stays at 6-5 because people doubt her. I just don't see that happening though. I honestly, I just really feel like this is a horse that is getting ready to run one of her better races. I think whatever happened at Churchill's behind her. The last race at Churchill was a pretty good prep. She's working pretty well. I just kind of see her getting back to her winning way. Well, I say that she's won 3 out of 4. I see her getting back to one of her top races. I worry a little bit about Leslie's Rose, to be honest. I thought her last race was really good, but then you look and go, well, Torpedo Anna's kind of had her way with Leslie's Rose. So it'd have to be a big table turn. To me, if you think Torpedo Anna's kind of cooked or done, it's a delightful race because you're going to get a good price on somebody. But if you think she's kind of going to get back to where we see her at some of her best races, I don't think they can compete with her in this spot.
Yeah, for me, it's I'm with you. I think Leslie's Rose is interesting. I think randomized is super scary here. Really, both of the Chads. I like this one better than the other one, but I this is a horse that has shown to have that ability from time to time. Those gate to wire type efforts. Raging Sea, a horse that usually comes from off of it. Leslie's Rose, that last race was nice. Obviously, I love this horse, former number one pick on the team, and always saw this from her.
Right.
Figured she'd be this good, but no, I mean she's shown. The Ashland is her only Grade 1 win, so that's really the concern. She's kind of shown that she's not quite there, but at the same time, I mean her best performance was in a Grade 1 was second to Torpedo Anna in the Acorn. Torpedo is she's 5 for 5 here at this distance. She loves Saratoga. The only time she's been beat at Saratoga was to fierceness. I just think she's, like you said, can she lose? Yes, because, she's going to have to kind of get back to her, or at least run like that last race, a little more. If she has another like La Troyne or something, then yeah. But if she runs, I think it's going to be tough to beat her. But I'm not going to sit here and talk anyone off of betting against her, or I wouldn't sit here and dictate and say, hey, you've got to play her as a single. I think there's, if you want to get aggressive or try to beat her, I wouldn't talk you off of her because it's not a terrible field, I don't think. But I do think she's got enough to win here.
See, I think that's where we disagree. I think it is a terrible field. So,
see, listen, considering who we have to race against, in this division, it's
that's
like,
fair.
well,
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Here's the thing about randomized and Raging Seas, just for instance, like they've both shown the ability to upset good horses. Like she randomized beat Idiomatic.
Yep.
Raging Sea beat Torpedo Anna.
Yep.
And so I think it's possible to do it, right? These are the kind of horses that can. Raging Sea ran a hell of a race in the distaff to get second to Torpedo Anna. I just don't, but also in the same breath, Raging Sea got beat by Leslie's Rose last out. And so they're not fantastic horses, but I do think they are capable of upsetting her, but not if Torpedo Anna brings it.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I'm probably a little too harsh because you're right. I mean, these are the horses that in the division that are the best, right?
Sadly, yes.
And I think what it is, a lot of it too, it's like I know if Torpedo Anna just kind of shows up and runs a good race, that she's just better, So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've even though I've been one of the people that said, man, she just doesn't look the same this year. I think she's good enough to beat this group.
Do you think that McPeak, let's just say like let's say she wins, but it's still like these 95 buyers or so, you know what I mean? Like not bad, certainly, but not like Sovereignty. At what point does it become like, hey, she's winning, but fate trying to run her against Sovereignty and Journalism and Mind Frame and Nice, you know what I mean? Does it become like that's not good either? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me, it's not a speed figure as much as let's watch the race and let's see, does this look like an exhibition where she's just out there and it was so easy, it was a laugher, or did she struggle to do it? Because if she's struggling but still wins, you have no business going to the Classic, right? You need to stay in your division. If she wins this race, say like she won the Coaching Club last year up here, or the Acorn up here last year, that's when you start talking about it. And to be fair, when she won the Oaks, the Acorn, and the Coaching Club, and they were just laughers, that's when he went to the Travers. We have not seen that kind of effort from her this year. So let's see if she can do it here.
Yeah, we need to see one of those kind of blowout, just kind of rolls by the leader and, just cruises home kind of efforts. And then you're like in a race like this, where you're like, oh, grade 1 at Saratoga, the personal instant does that. Okay, maybe I can get on board with that aggressive move. Yeah, I'm with you. So, all right. Yep. We both got one thing we won't go over like in detail, but this race, I wanted to at least put it up on the screen because I think it's just an unbelievably awesome race. Race 10, the Allen Jerkins. I mean, look at this field. Patch Adams, Barnes, there's Chancer McPatrick, Verifier, who's been awesome for Brad Cox, and then Madacat Road in the race as well for Baffert. Baffert, and this isn't Del Mar. This is Saratoga. He's got 3 horses in the race, Midland Money being the other one. Barnes, though, just real quick, I'll just ask you this. Where are you at? Are you hot or cold on Barnes in this race? That's all I want to know.
Oh, I'm in the middle. Like, I'm going to use him. But I'm not hot really, but I'm also not off of him because I think he's getting back to the distance he wants to run. I would have loved to have seen him in a race before this one since Santa Anita Derby, but I think he's here with a shot. And I think, getting Jose Ortiz is a very good sign that, Baffert kind of locked that jock up. And I think he did because he thinks this horse has got a big shot.
It is interesting to see him back on a surface or on a distance he prefers, right? And let's not forget, the last race was a disaster, but 2 back, he gave journalism everything there in that race. Of course, journalism is not terrible, right? So, who knows? I really don't know what Barnes is, So I don't think he's at least what I hoped he was. I don't think he's elite, but I do think maybe at this distance he could be really good. But we'll see. It's certainly a tough spot. Patch Adams has found his way here at this distance. Like I said, Verifier is awesome, but unproven, I guess. So we'll see what he can do. I feel like Madacat Road, you kind of know what he is a little bit. Midland Money being here is interesting for Baffert as well to kind of throw that last one in. But yeah, this is like, to me, probably the race other than of course the Travers that I'm probably most excited to watch.
Oh yeah, I agree. This is going to be a fascinating race to see how this unfolds. And you got 3 Bafferts, and does he kind of control the pace? I don't know. It could be weird. Could get weird.
Not to mention the Forgo a few races later for the Olders, 7 furlongs, and you got Bookham Dano in there. That's a horse that, arguably aside from Sovereignty has been as the most impressive horse this summer. Bookham Dano's been awesome and really has just gotten better. It feels like with each start. So can he continue that dominance? It's Saratoga. Crazy things happen. Most wanted is interesting in the race, but he's going to be tough here, because the biggest threat is Mulligan, and it's like the same. It's like Sovereignty versus journalism.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that Mulligan keeps trying.
I know, right? Yeah, Maggie. That's why I wanted to at least show you guys the card. It's an awesome, like I say, it's an awesome card.
Well, some of the non-stakes races, there are some maidens running that are going to be fun as well. It's a fun card.
Yeah, I mean, the first race, he kicked things off with the maiden special weight racing. I'll just kind of run through this quickly here. An allowance race here, the second special weight for the fillies. You've got, they're big fields really for the most part, other than the Travers. Another maiden special weight it's not as good. This one's a pretty decent race, deep field. This was a nice one, I thought. Another maiden special weight. You always love to see these 2-year-old colts on. We always talk about those 2-year-old racing on Travers Day. Make note, right?
Yep. Every year you see something, and last year on Travers Day, you saw the Kentucky Derby winner run fourth. So
I was just gonna say it's not always the winner either. You gotta keep an eye on the whole bunch.
And how cool is it? You did see the Derby winner run fourth. The winner of that race, Tip Top Thomas, has now won the Indiana Derby and won the local prep at Parks for the Pennsylvania Derby. So that's a very good horse as well.
Yeah, I saw that he won the other day too, like you said. So yeah, it's this is a hell of a card, guys. 14 races on the card. Even like I said, even the races that you feel, I mean, really, Sovereignty is the one, right, where you probably feel the most like, hey, should win. But even some of these races like this, say, where you're like, hey, well, Celia's 5-2, Hope Road's 3-1. Well, not to give it away, but I didn't pick either one of those, and so it's just that kind of feel, those kind of races, a lot of them for me that you can play against the favorites. So it's a good day of racing, and typically these kind of days you can get the prices you want. Now, not in 5-horse fields when 2 to 5 Sovereignty, but for a lot of them you can, and that makes them very playable in my opinion.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with that. And like I said, the Travers is disappointing with 5 horses, but the rest of it is, it's legit.
Yeah, I agree, Maggie. Cannot wait. So, I feel like too much has been on, like, oh, the Travers field of 5, that sucks or whatever. But it's like, hey, I mean, Sovereignty versus Magnitude. Let's look at the bright side. And then you got a whole day of racing. That's awesome, And you can listen. People that bitch about it, it's like, they're just too simple-minded. Like, look at the big picture. Look at what has gotten to that point of why it's that way, because of how good of a year Sovereignty's had. And 2, there's always a way to make money, whether it is playing against him, if that's what you want to do, or play a cold pick 3 or a daily double cold into him or whatever. There are ways to make money with heavy favorites. You just have to get creative.
Yeah, I mean, with gambling, you kind of just have to take the opportunities that are presented to you and not worried about the stuff that is out of your control. And we have no control over getting horses to the Travers. And this particular year, there is nothing we can even talk about to change that. Like, they're all scared of one horse. So what are you going to do? But yeah, you just take the opportunity as it comes. Like, you just can't, if you're a bettor, you just can't be one of these people that is like, well, I play 4-horse trifecta boxes every race, no matter what. So what am I supposed to do here? But don't do that, because honestly, that's not a good idea a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like, take your opportunities and play based on what it gives you.
You know what's kind of fascinating is we've had the Derby, we've had the Triple Crown, Derby, Belmont, Preakness, Belmont. We've had, let's say, the Haskell, and we've had the Jim Dandy. Okay, there's 5 like elite level grade 1. Is the Jim Dandy grade 2? It's
grade 2.
Yeah, but still, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Elite level, great 3-year-old racing that have been won by 2 horses.
Mm-hmm.
The Jim Dandy, or throw the Travers in there, obviously, certainly could keep it at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And let's throw in the Pennsylvania Derby. If you want to do that later on in the year. If journalism were to run there, or if Biezo runs there, and now you say 3 horses potentially have won. It's been very top heavy, but it's been very elite racing on the top heavy end. So can't really complain about that, in my opinion.
Nope. I won't complain about it. So
all right, guys, that's all the time we have. Getting big weekend of racing headed to Saratoga, Del Mar, Charlestown even. So make sure you go to racingdudes.com, check out all the free picks and premium selections on that handicapping products page. Again, the Travers Betting Bible is available. The final picks are available right now. We will update that with scratches potentially tomorrow, and then obviously Saturday morning when scratches get out or come out, usually like 1 hour to post. So we always miss like the first 3 races, but you will make sure you download the most recent version before you put your bets in on Saturday. Just click that button at the racingdudes.com website on the main menu to get access to that. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places you like to listen to. We're there. Go to YouTube, hit that like notification, and subscribe. We're live right now on YouTube. So if you want to check us out, watch the video version of this. If you're listening to the podcast version, you can do that. You guys, if you haven't done it already, do to bet. Halterman and his dad have been talking college football, NFL. We're officially there. It's awesome to see. Cannot wait. Then, dude, I don't know. Magic Mike may or may not. Seems like it'd be a good weekend to do it, but I don't know.
I think they're going to do it this weekend. I think they'll have one.
Okay, well.
But I don't know that for sure.
Like we always say, we're with you guys. So whenever that someone tweets at us or emails us and says, hey, is there going to be a show? Like, I don't know. We'll find out together. Yeah. But, hey, Halterman and I hopping on an airplane tomorrow. We're heading to Saratoga for the second time this year, and we will be at the Travers. So if anybody is going to be there with us, make sure you hit us up, and should be fun. So I haven't checked the weather. Have you? Is it going to be nice?
Going to be nice. About 85 and sunny on Saturday. Looks like Sunday is going to be in the 70s, actually, and a little chance of rain, but not much. I think for Travers and for tomorrow, it's looking pretty perfect.
What's that like?
I know.
Well, hell yeah, man. That's awesome. So, yeah, again, guys, it's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be great racing. We'll see. We'll see if Sovereignty can lock down that Thrill of the Year status. Let's see if Torpedo Anna can make her case for the Distaff and/or the Classic. Lots of storylines at play here this weekend, and we'll have it all here at racingdudes.com. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend, and good luck in the Travers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.